Oh, hi! Congratulations on buying your new Panasonic Word Processor. I bought one too. Well, actually, I got it for my daughter's college graduation. Been trying to wrap it up, not doing a very good job. You see, I plan to use it just as much as she. But she doesn't have to know that. Only that I'm going to help her. And you, through the most useful functions of your Panasonic Word Processor. You won't believe how easy it is to learn. I'm also going to give you a chance to stop your VCR after each section so you can go over to your own word processor and see for yourself just how easy it is. And fun, too. Of course, if you'd rather watch the whole tape first, you can just keep it running. The color-coded circle in the bottom corner of your screen starts moving clockwise at the beginning of each section. By rewinding or fast-forwarding your VCR, the circle lets you easily locate any section of the tape you need to review. On the cassette box, you'll find the color code for each section. I think that's Jenny now. Can't wait to see the look on her face when she sees how she'll be able to literally, right from the beginning. She'll be thrilled.
Hey, Dad. What is this? Dad.
Happy graduation, honey.
I'm supposed to know how to use this thing?
Well, not yet, but I'm going to help you through it.
Thanks, but I think it's going to take most of my adult life for me to figure it out.
You'd be surprised how easy the Panasonic Word Processor is to learn. Hey, if I can do it, you can do it. Come on, let's set it up. Come on. Oh, come on, let's see you smile. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, right.
Now, the first thing we do is to release the keyboard and the power cord from the back of the unit. And we turn it around. And next, we plug in the keyboard into the port on the right side of the unit. Now I'll plug it in. Voila.
I think one of us has to turn it on.
But before we do that, don't forget to remove the plastic yellow protective bar from the carriage.
Okay.
Now you can press the power button.
Okay. What? Do I just start typing?
You can, because as soon as you turn the power on, your Panasonic Word Processor is in the electronic typewriter mode. You can use it as an electronic typewriter for simple jobs, but since word processing is just as easy and a lot more useful, we're going to get right into the word processing mode. You know, I really should tell Jenny about the help button, but then she wouldn't think I'm as smart as I sound.
Hey, Dad, what's this button at the top that says help?
Glad you asked, Jen. By pressing the help button, you can get instant help on many functions of your Panasonic Word Processor right on screen. Let's get right into the main menu so we can start, shall we?
You can't miss the menu button at the top right of the keyboard.
Pressing it gets you to the main menu. Now, the first thing we have to do is format a micro floppy disk, which you'll use a little later on when you store your documents. Another reason why your Panasonic Word Processor is so convenient is because it uses standard 3.5-inch micro floppy disks. Since they are the same kind that many personal computers use, you can get them anywhere computer supplies are sold. Computer stores, office supply stores, stationery stores.
Dad, maybe you can tell me what formatting does.
Sure. It prepares the disk for the particular machine you're using. It's simple to do. By moving the arrow key down on your main menu, highlight Utility and Tutorial. Press the return button.
Format disk is right there.
With your arrow keys, highlight the Format Disk option and press Return.
It's telling me that formatting will delete all files from the disk.
Yeah, that's a reminder. If you have any files on the disk, formatting will erase them. But since you haven't put any on the disk yet, you can go ahead and press Return to begin formatting. Incidentally, your Panasonic Word Processor comes with a tutorial disk. Do not format the tutorial disk. Doing so will erase the tutorial files already on the disk.
That's it?
That's all you have to do. And incidentally, Jen, didn't you say something about needing a resume so that you could find a job?
Boy, you waste no time.
Neither does your Panasonic Word Processor. It's really easy. Come on, let's get right into creating the text. Now, using the arrow key, highlight Create New Text, then press Return.
Well, that's kind of fun.
Is she thrilled or what?
Dad, what's that line at the top of the screen?
Now that's the status line. It tells you at a glance what column, line, and page your cursor is on at any given moment. Now, before you start typing your resume, we'll want to set margins and tabs so everything looks just right. Now, find the code key on the bottom row of the keyboard. Now, that's an important key because by using it in conjunction with a letter or a number key, you can enhance your text to look like a real professional document.
Does that mean I'm going to have to memorize key combinations? You know how bad I am at that.
Oh, you and me both. That's why I bought a Panasonic. You hardly have to memorize a thing. Now, to set your margins, press the code key plus the L key. It says change format right on the key.
It's asking me if I want to change the margin format.
Press the O key for original format. You see, you're telling your word processor that you want to create and store an original margin format for your resume. Later on, read about how you can store two margin formats in your word processor's memory.
How do I set the margins?
Well, all the keys you need to set margins and tabs are located together in the vertical row on the left. Use your arrow keys to move to your margin and tab positions. Then simply press the left margin, right margin, and tab set keys to set the stops. It's all printed clearly right on the keys. And notice how your margin and tab positions are indicated on the status line. Got it?
Of course I do.
Good. Care to quickly review what we just learned?
Sure. First, if you're using a new blank disk, don't forget to format it. The menu key gets you into the main menu. With your arrow keys, choose Utility and Tutorial. Press Return. Choose Format Disk and Return again. To start word processing, select Create New Text from the main menu and press Return. That's all there is to it. If you want to set new tabs and margins, press Code plus the L key. It says Change Format on the key. Then type O for original format. Use the arrow keys to move to your tab and margin positions. Press the left margin, right margin, and tab set keys to set the stops.
Easier than she thought.
What was that, Dad?
Nothing, Jen. Consult your operating manual to review these functions. Go ahead and stop your machine if you want to try them out for yourself. Look at her go. I hate to say this, but at this rate she won't need me long. They grow up so fast.
I forgot a word.
Now that's where your Panasonic Word Processor is light years ahead of a typewriter. You can simply position the cursor where you want to insert a word or sentence and type it in.
Wow, and look! When I get to the end of a line, the cursor wraps around to the next line. I never have to worry about returning down to the next line.
You forgot something else, Jen.
What's that?
Your name. Maybe she needs me after all. Now, first move the cursor to the top of your document using the arrow keys.
Now, what if I want to center it?
Easy.
And bold and underline it?
Easy again. The great thing about your Panasonic Word Processor is that you can enhance your text at the touch of a button. Now, to center your name, just press the code key and
the C key.
Your text is automatically centered between the margins until you press Return. That turns the centering mode off.
I think it might help if my address was there too, Dad.
Ah, yeah, good idea. Except this time, let's center, bold, and underline all at once. Now, press the code key first, then...
The C key to center it, code plus B to bold it, and code plus U to underline it. It's easy because the functions are noted right on the keys.
Notice the screen symbols that appear as you use the enhancing functions. See, these symbols tell you what functions you're using. So go ahead and type your address and phone number. Use the same key combinations to turn bold and underline off. Yeah.
Dad, what do you think? Maybe waitress shouldn't be on there?
Well, you can have it either way. Your Panasonic Word Processor lets you take something out as fast as you put it in. Make no mistake about it.
Clever, Dad.
I thought so. To delete a single word, use the arrow keys to place your cursor one space to the right of the word you want deleted. Then simply press Quick Erase.
It's out of there.
If you have model 1505A or 1510, you can also use Quick Erase to delete an entire line. Simply put the cursor one space after the line you want to delete, press the code key plus the Quick Erase key, and adios. Hey, you mind if your old dad shows you something?
Well, okay.
How kind. Now this is the feature I need the most. It's AccuSpell Plus.
Uh-huh.
You simply turn it on
Yeah.
and type fearlessly.
Okay, let's see.
Catches your spelling mistakes every time.
Now, I could have told you how to spell that.
I was just kidding.
Sure.
Now, after you hear the beep, press the SC Next key.
Yeah.
Your Panasonic Word Processor actually gives you a list of alternative words.
Wow, look at that.
With your arrow keys, highlight the correctly spelled word,
That's great.
or whatever word you want to insert.
Okay.
With the 1500 model, simply press the Replace key on the AccuSpell Plus panel. If you have the 1505A or 1510 model, press Return, and that's it. The word is automatically replaced.
Dad, do you mind if I use my graduation present? Besides, I don't think I'm such a genius goes on my resume.
Oh dear. So suddenly possessive, isn't she?
Come on, let's go.
All right. Now, while you finish your resume, I'm going to review what we just talked about.
All right, thanks.
Centering, bolding, and underlining are all done by holding the code key down with a corresponding letter key. The same keystrokes turn the bold and underline functions off. To delete a word, position the cursor one character after the word to be deleted and press the Quick Erase key. To delete a line on the 1505A or the 1510, position the cursor after the line to be deleted and press the code plus the Quick Erase key. And finally, use AccuSpell Plus to automatically catch and replace misspelled words. Turn AccuSpell Plus on. When you hear this beep, press the SC Next key for a list of alternative words. Using the arrow keys, highlight the one you want and press Replace or the Return key depending on your model. The new word is automatically inserted. Go ahead and stop your VCR if you want to try out the features for yourself. Now that you've completed the bulk of your resume, there's some common editing functions you're going to find very helpful. Now, these must be done in the Edit Text in Memory mode. So just go back to the main menu,
Okay.
move your arrow key to Edit Text in Memory, and press Return.
There we go.
Your letter will reappear on the screen. Now you're ready to begin editing. With the powerful block command, you can move blocks of text around at the touch of a key. Or you can copy them elsewhere in your document or delete them.
You mean if I want to put the office manager job below the media assistant job?
Exactly. The block editing function will differ slightly depending on what model you have. If you have the 1500 model, we'll show you how to use the block function. Now, whether you're moving, copying, or deleting a block of text, the procedure's the same.
Okay.
First, you need to set the beginning and end of the block. In this case, the block of text we want to move is the Office Manager paragraph.
Right.
So position your cursor on the first letter of the paragraph.
Okay.
Then press code plus the Q key. It says block right on the key.
Got it.
Now mark the end of the block.
Okay.
That would be after the last letter in our paragraph. Position your cursor after the last letter, press code plus Q again,
Okay.
and your block of text is set.
Great.
Once you've defined the block, you can move it or copy it elsewhere in your document, or just delete it. Now, if you wanted to delete it at this point, you would press code plus Q again, and your word processor would ask, move, copy, or delete. You just press D for delete. But in this case, we want to move the block of text to follow the media assistant paragraph.
Right.
So simply position the cursor after that paragraph. Press code plus Q again. Your word processor prompts you.
Move, copy, or delete.
Press M to move, C to copy, or D to delete. In your case, we're moving the paragraph, so press M, and like magic, the text we've blocked moves to the cursor position.
Now that's more like it.
If you have the 1505A or 1510 model, block editing is slightly different. Press the code key along with the proper number key, 2 to move, 3 to copy, or 4 to delete. Panasonic's made it easy by writing move, copy, and delete above those numbers on your keyboard. Then define your block the same way, except press return after you've marked the beginning and end points. Finally, position the cursor to where you want the block moved or copied, and press return again. Now, since we're already in the edit text and memory mode, there's one more editing function I think you'll like, Jen. It lets you search for any word or group of words up to 30 characters in your document. For instance, what if you made a mistake where you typed 1985 and you wanted to change it to, say, 1986?
Well, first I'd have to find 1985, right?
Actually, your Panasonic Word Processor will find it for you. Press code plus the letter S for search.
It's asking me what word I'm searching for. 1985.
Now press the return key.
There it is, 1985.
Now you can change the word. Oh, by the way, it was 1986, not 85, that you worked as a camp counselor.
You remember?
I remember. Your mom and I actually had time alone that summer. You bet I remember.
I don't want to hear about it.
I don't blame you. Back to work. Now, you can even have your word processor replace the word for you. And if a word occurs more than once, you can replace it throughout the document with a single keystroke.
You mean if I want to replace the word assisted with the word helped?
Right. To search and replace, first press the code plus the X key.
It's prompting me for the word I want to replace. Assisted.
Now, after you type the word to be replaced, press return, and it asks you for the word you want to use instead.
Helped.
And press return again, and you'll notice it asks you if you want to change only this occurrence of the word or if you want to do a global change. Now that means replace the word everywhere it occurs in the resume.
Oh.
So go ahead, Jen, press G for global.
Look at that. Not hard to figure out.
Yeah. Not that she even needs me here. In fact, I bet if I left the room right now, she wouldn't even notice.
Hey, Dad. Now that I've finished my resume, how do I start a cover letter?
She noticed. Well, first we have to store the resume on a disk before moving on to another document.
Okay.
But before we get into how to use the micro floppy disk, how about a quick review of the editing functions we've just learned? Your Panasonic Word Processor lets you move, copy, or delete a block of text, whether a whole page or a single line. On the 1500 model, press the code plus Q key to turn on the block function. Then position your cursor to mark the beginning of the block, the end of the block, and where you want to copy or move it, pressing code plus Q after each step. For the 1505A or 1510 models, press the code key +2, 3, or 4, depending on whether you want to move, copy, or delete. Then set the beginning and end points of the block, and where you want to move or copy, pressing return after each step. To search for a word or phrase up to 30 characters long, press code +S. Type the word you want to search for and press return. The cursor finds the word instantly. To automatically replace one word with another, press code +X. Your word processor will prompt you through the next steps. Stop your VCR now if you'd like to try out these functions for yourself. As you create a document on your Panasonic Word Processor, it's automatically being stored in what's called text memory. When there's no room left in the memory, you'll get a message telling you that text memory is full. That's when you have to take what you have and save it to a micro floppy disk.
Dad, I finished typing the resume.
Or when you finish a document like Jen's resume, save it to a disk before going on to another document. Well, if you're finished typing, let's go ahead and put it on a disk.
Okay.
Now, first you need to get back to the main menu.
All right. It says Store Text to Disk.
Yeah, it almost walks you through the process.
Select Store Text to Disk, then Return. It's prompting me for a file name.
Now, this is where you give your document a name. You can use up to 10 characters. So, how about Jay's resume?
Another stroke of brilliance.
Now, just press return.
Okay. It's telling me that it's storing my file.
It's telling her more than I am, in fact. Well, there's still a few things she hasn't figured out yet, like how to retrieve a file from disk. Jen?
I bet loading a file from the disk back into text memory is just as easy.
I bet it is, too.
Okay, I go to the main menu again, select Load Document from Disk, press Return, and a screen prints out a list of files stored on the disk. Using the arrow keys, I highlight the file I want to retrieve. Press Return, and presto, back in text memory.
So now that you have a perfect resume, Jen, what do you plan to do with it?
Dad, are you rubbing it in again about getting a job?
No, actually, I'm asking you so I can show you how to save yourself more work when you send your cover letters out.
Sure.
It's another function of your Panasonic Word Processor called Mail Merge.
Okay.
If you have a form letter going to a lot of different people, Mail Merge lets you type that letter just one time. Automatically, it inserts the different names and addresses from a separate document. Well, I think I'm going to let you figure that one out on your own.
Well, first I have to figure out who I'm sending this resume to.
Good idea. You can learn Mail Merge too in a matter of minutes, and other valuable functions like Address List, available on the 1505A and 1510 models. With Address List, you can store as many as 999 names, addresses, and telephone numbers. You'll also find the electronic thesaurus on the 1505A and 1510. It's another invaluable tool of your Panasonic Word Processor, and a heck of a lot easier than an old-fashioned thesaurus, the kind I grew up with.
Well, I think I've got it.
Well, I think you do too, except for the resume itself, the pièce de résistance.
Haha, let's do it.
This is the moment I've been waiting for, where you really get to impress somebody by the look of your document. The print key on the far right set of buttons is all you really have to know. Your word processor talks you through everything else, like how many copies or what pages you want to print.
Speaking of pages, it might help if we load one in before we start rolling the presses.
Well, go ahead. Loading paper into the 1500 model isn't much different from a typewriter.
Okay, let's see.
If you have the 1510 model, your machine uses a cut sheet feeder, which automatically feeds paper into the printer. Consult your manual on how to load the cut sheet feeder.
Okay, the paper's set to go. Now to print, I just press the print button, and the word processor prompts me through everything else. Like it says, just press return to start printing.
Look, since I've been doing all the talking and you've been having all the fun, how'd you like to recap the things we've just learned?
No problem. When your text memory is full, or when you want to begin a new document, store your text to disk. First, go to the main menu, choose the Store Text to Disk option, and press Return. The word processor will prompt you to give your file a name. Type in a file name and press Return. To retrieve a file from the disk and load it back into text memory, select Load Document from Disk, press Return. The screen will tell you that it's reading the disk, and then a list of files will appear. Just highlight the file you want with the arrow keys and press Return. Printing is really easy too. Just press the gray Print button and the word processor talks you through every step.
Well, I think I will leave the room now, at least until I can use the Panasonic Word Processor. She seems to be off and running.
Dad?
What is it, Jen?
Thanks.
She's thrilled. Can't you tell?